I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby, here with Jennifer Getzinger, Director on Outer Range. Jennifer, you directed episodes 3 and 4 of this bonkers, riveting, sci-fi neo-western. It's genre bending, just like it's time bending. Talk us through why you took on these 2 episodes and what it's like to take the reins or the baton from so to speak, from another director to continue and expand on the show creator's vision.
Yeah, well, it was really interesting because I did episodes 3 and 4, which is technically the second block that shoots, so they were shooting the first 2 episodes and then I did my 2 episodes. But, the show was still very much in its infancy. So it was a great time actually to be able to just dig into the material and sort of find the visual language. We were still really searching for that. And, Brian Watkins had a lot of amazing references to all kinds of like Westerns and Coen brothers and just all kinds of interesting things that he was referencing, that we ended up, using a lot of that kind of language in how we shot the episodes. And so I think, I was trying to build on what the first block did, but then also just keep expanding, how we could tell this story.
So then how do you tackle this? Did you primarily tackle it as a neo-Western? Did you primarily tackle it as a sci-fi thriller? Or did the genre not particularly matter to you at the end of the day?
Well, it did matter in that I think the Western element was definitely very important, especially because I did early episodes and I think we really wanted to like show that landscape, show this world, show the ranch, show their lives. There's a lot of where you really see what they do and you see them being ranchers and you really establish the family and their home, because the ranch is like another character, so we really needed to lean into the Western in that sense. But then, of course, whenever we did go to the more sci-fi elements, that's where we could use a little bit of a different type of visual language. We actually put a lot more movement in. It was a lot more like dreamy, I would say, or, something where you're just not sure what's real. Whereas I think all the things at the ranch were more like grounded and more that kind of visual language where it was a much more tableau. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, tableau. That makes a lot of sense, actually. And I noticed that quite a bit. However, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, but I noticed in episodes 3 and 4, there's some really innovative blocking that you do internally. So this beautiful light and shade in the bar with Perry and Autumn, I found that to be it was just so immersive. I just don't know how you and the DP were able to achieve that so effectively. And also in the jail cell between Joy and Rhett in episode 4, even where active sheriff Joy is trying to catch Royal or Rhett in a lie about the body, and there's some very really effective editing in that as well. And I think you, the editor and the cinematographer, were able to achieve something really special in those internal scenes. What was the intention behind those?
Yeah, well, we were definitely going for a sort of isolating each character in their space, and I think that sometimes we did that with this quick editing where you're going between, you're not even sure which room you're in or who she's talking to at times. When we were getting, in that interrogation sequence, we wanted to sort of have you feel what it would be like and have you get as confused as they would get in trying to keep up with their lies and, that kind of thing. But we liked, everybody was sort of in their own boxes, and we would jump around. But then we did a similar thing with lighting in like the bar where we had, Perry and Autumn were kind of we kept them really separate. And we did that more with lighting than with how we shot it. Drew Daniels, the DP, is really, really talented and really, I thought did an amazing job of those kinds of things. The other one that you referenced was, when Joy is questioning Rhett in the jail cell. And that also was, again, we just wanted you to feel as sort of closed in as he did. So a lot of it was shooting through, the grating of the cell, looking down on him, really trying to feel like you're pinned in the corner like Rhett is.
I love that because obviously the performance of the script is already making us feel tension, but the
Mm.
way that you're able to block that and shoot it made me feel very unsettled. So
Oh,
well
good.
done. That's the whole point. Episode three, the first episode you tackled, takes us through these profound moments in the evolution of Earth and the human
Mhm.
race. And then it ends with, and the land and the sky didn't give two shits. I loved that. That's so perfect for this show. What's it like when you get a script which opens on something so ambitious that you have to deliver it and bring it to life?
Well, I mean, I love, again, being some of the earlier episodes, there was a lot of setting up just the mythology of this world and sort of what the land felt. That was sort of what I was talking about how the ranch itself was its own character, and you got to kind of hear what the land would think. And it also was a great foreshadowing of time and and how much time was going to mean in the story, because it showed how. How the land changed in time, and obviously we learned later about how that affected the different characters. But yeah, I mean, that was the kind of thing where that was working more with visual effects people, who they had done some of it. There was a lot of, they basically come to you like with sort of a, okay, here's the base of like the different kind of looks we could have, and then a lot of it is figuring out, okay, how do we get from one look to the other as far as how this landscape changes, and how, are we going to have it, what is it going to be cut quickly? We tried a few different things, but I thought that the way we ended up landing on it, kind of morphing from one thing to the next, was felt like the most natural.
Yeah, it's highly entertaining. I did not see that coming. But
Mhm.
yeah, it does explain quite a lot actually once you get further into the show.
Mhm.
Um, when it comes to the actors, you get to do some really great stuff, but I must bring up Will Patton as the Tillerson patriarch. He does some crazy stuff in these episodes. He dances with the mysterious rock. He cries uncontrollably, obviously, when he learns of his son's death. And then he
Mhm.
drives to the void in a frenzy, where he ultimately ends up in a confrontation with, of course, the most imposing character of all, Royal. But do you enjoy working with these larger than life actors? Because Will Patton is a legend and he dominates the screen. How did you feel about working with him?
Oh, I mean, Will was amazing. He was really amazing. I had never worked with him before. And, he came in and he just was really like, he was so into the script. He was so into this character. He just really felt like he understood this guy, as crazy as he was. There was like something deep in him that he like really like loved about this man. And, if anything, I feel like an actor like that, I felt like my job was just to like protect him, I mean, which is often the job, right? Of just letting him know, yeah, you can go even, even push it, even go another step farther. I mean, and he was so bold that he would do it, I mean, I think that he was really, like, especially with the crying scene about, he was kind of nervous about that scene, but I think just because he plays things so in such a real, visceral way, and so it was really just about encouraging him to just really, you can't be too devastated by this news. I mean, it's really just the worst thing you could ever hear. And he, I mean, it's just amazing how vulnerable he can be on screen. It's really, I was very
Yeah,
impressed with
yeah,
everything
it
he did.
is. It reminds me as well, sort of really my final question. It's something that I'm really honestly curious about with directors. When you're directing and working with more seasoned actors and those actors that have been around for decades, people who know what they're doing, like Josh and Will and Lily, and there's they know their way around a set. What's the key for you are they all different, or do you seem to have a certain style with younger actors who need the guidance, and the older ones who perhaps you need to be a bit more careful with the way that you're giving them notes and the way that you're directing them?
Um, there definitely is a difference. And in this show we had both. We had some newer, younger, newer actors, and then of course, yeah, we had Josh and Lily and Will and people like that. I think I do approach it a little bit differently, but there isn't really a one size fits all. Everybody kind of has their own style, and that's always something you're figuring out the first day or two that you're working with them. Um, you know, Something I love about doing first season shows is that we're all still finding these characters and finding this world. And so often, I feel like the best actors are always still very open to finding ways of showing who this person is, or ways of digging into something a little bit deeper. And, Josh and Lily were both very, had really studied these people, had really crawled into their skin, were really inhabiting them, but yet they were still very open to, maybe I would do this, maybe I would do that, maybe I would have this kind of that they really wanted to just explore and sort of find the right boundaries for these characters, so it was really exciting. I mean, and in that, I think, again, it's just a lot of that kind of thing is being the person who can be on the outside of that, watching and saying, yes, that's working, that's, what I mean, and that kind of stuff, and encouraging them, and then encouraging them to try something else and go in a different way. And to me, that's the most exciting time of directing, is when actors are open to that kind of exploration.
Yeah, and of course, if you're a director on a film, and it's your film, you wrote it or whatever, I think it's a completely different thing to a director coming in on a series. You've got a block of episodes, and you have to be the leader. But imagine if you weren't a people person and you weren't able to actually interact with these people. It'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
Right. Yes, it would.
Anyway, Jennifer, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck in your future work. I look forward to hopefully seeing you on the Emmy red carpet one day soon.
Thank you very much.